What's going on? This is Ryan with Automatic Comics, and up next I have got an awesome comic haul here. I've got this box here that I haven't opened yet that has a new Keeper book in it. I've got these comics here that I did open because I couldn't wait, but I'm going to talk about them, I'm going to show them, and there's a Keeper book in there. I'm going to talk about one of the sets of books that I've been putting together that's from this book that's in here, and I've got the two books that are being dropped from the Keeper list because of this. There's some big ones, so stay tuned. Let's check these books out. All right, so before we get started, please remember to hit that like button and hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content like this. I have got some awesome books here. One of these Keeper books I talked about in a prior video, not the book specifically, but that I had just purchased it and it was being shipped, it was in the mail, and it finally arrived, and that's the one that I couldn't wait to open. I opened it when it got here. I didn't film the unboxing, but I'll talk about the book here. It's from a run that I've been kind of putting together most of it, so I think that'll be a fun one to go over those books that I have from that run. Then I've got this one here, which is a book that I recently picked up that is going onto the Keeper list, and then, like I said, I've got the books that are being cut. So with that, let's get into these, and I've got, let's see, 4 raw books first. So the first one here is from a run that I actually just showed one of the books from this run recently. That's actually the biggest book in the run. This is Witch's Tales number 28. And this, the big book from this run is Witch's Tales number 25, which if you watch that video, it's the one where you've got the like the decapitated head that's being used in the bell, and you've got the guy ringing the bell on the cover. Crazy cover. But this is from that run. This is Witch's Tales number 28. It's a decent enough presenting copy. You know, it's relatively clean in the main part of the image, but it has a fair amount of spine wear. I think I estimated it at about a 4 to a 4.5. Then the next one, also from this one's from Atlas. That first one's from Harvey. This one's from Atlas, but also a pre-code horror book. This is Uncanny Tales number 27. In my recent CGC unboxing, I had an Uncanny Tales number 1 that I just got graded, came back a 4.5. This one I think is probably also about a 4 to a 4.5. Just kind of like a cool, creepy cover. This is pretty late in the run. I think this is like 1954, before they put in the Comics Code Authority, because this run continued after it got that little Comics Code Authority up here, but this one doesn't have it yet. So cool pre-code horror cover. You know, the black backgrounds, I always like those. And again, a pretty clean presenting copy, but a lot of the wear really is kind of like along the spine there, a definite reader crease, that kind of thing. All right, then the next one, moving up to the Bronze Age. This is Werewolf by Night number 11. This is the first appearance of the Hangman, and you know, it's got it on the cover right there too. This is a very nice copy of this book. I have it estimated as a 9.2 to a 9.6. And that's kind of a big range when you're talking about high-grade books, but it just depends how well certain things can get cleaned up on here. Like, I don't know if you can see it, but right here, there's like a little indentation, and then there's a few little spine ticks. A couple break color, a couple don't along the spine. And so if this one can get cleaned up, and then, yeah, then there was like a little blunting on that corner up here. But if all that stuff can get cleaned up, I mean, I think it has an outside shot at a 9.6. 9.2 feels pretty comfortable. 9.4 is possible. But yeah, it was just a really nice copy, and it was an affordable price, so I thought it was a good one to pick up. Worth the risk, you know, the gamble to get that one pressed, cleaned, and graded to see what it comes back as. Then the last raw book before we get into the graded slabs, some of the really cool books, is Weird Science Fantasy number 29. Now, if you're not familiar with this book, this is a Frank Frazetta cover. Let's see, does it have? Yeah, it's got his little signature on it up there. So Frank Frazetta. And Frank Frazetta did some of just the best sci-fi type covers ever. The Famous Funnies run is one that I love the covers from that run. I have a few of them on my keepers list, but this is considered what would have been the final cover from the Famous Funnies run. And this one isn't a keeper for me. It's a pretty low grade copy. It's detached. The cover's detached. It's got a lot of spine splitting. but it presents relatively well. There's a little piece out right here, but in general, a pretty nice presenting copy of this. Great for Zeta cover, but yeah, this is considered like, because the Famous Funnies run goes issues 209 to 216. This is considered what would have been like issue 217 if he had done a cover for that one. But yeah, so Weird Science Fantasy, number 29. Great Frank Frazetta cover. I've never owned that book before, so that was a cool one to be able to pick up. All right, now let's get into the slabs. So the first two slabs are some that I've managed to pick up a few copies of these books recently, and it's always fun to get them. This one is Planet Comics number 19. It's a lower grade copy. It's a 1.0, but this is this is a pricey book from this run. This is a very expensive book down even in this type of grade. These Planet Comics books, if you're not familiar with them, they're almost always like sci-fi good girl art covers. Almost all of them. That's the content. And this one really isn't much different from that. It's got this crazy spider thing grabbing the woman. But this is one of these earlier covers where they're called rivet copies. And I've got another Planet Comics book here, Planet Comics book here that isn't a rivet copy, so you can see the difference. But what it means is it's got these little rivets, so it kind of looks like metal in the title. And that stops somewhere in the 20s, in the issue 20s. It switches over to the non-rivet ones. But I had never had a rivet copy before until a few weeks ago with an unboxing I did, and I've got this one, and I think I picked up another one that's in another box that's on its way here too. But yeah, so Planet Comics 19, just really amazing run. If you're looking into Golden Age, if you like sci-fi and the good girl art type covers, Planet Comics is definitely a place to look. There's a huge range of prices. They tend to be more affordable, kind of in the 30s through the 50s, kind of 30s to 50s. And then the earlier ones, the rivet copies down to issue 1, tend to be a little more expensive. And then the later issues where it's Maurice Whitman that did the covers, those are also a little more expensive. But yeah, there's that one. And let's see here. Then the other Planet Comics issue that I picked up was Planet Comics number 61. And if this cover looks familiar, it's because I did a CGC unboxing maybe a month ago where I had the Canadian editions of Planet Comics, and the Canadian edition of Planet Comics number 2 uses the same cover from Planet Comics 61. This is actually one of my favorite covers of all of Planet Comics. I love this cover. I like the effect on the cover where it's like this melting of the spaceship. I think it's just a fun cover. You've got the woman in the red dress in this one. That's kind of like the standard Golden Age trope. But she's using like a ray gun that has it looks like a wooden stock, which I always think is fun. Yellow cover, just looks great. Especially, I mean, it looks really good for a 3.0. I would say this book definitely hasn't been pressed. I don't know if it would get a better grade because the main limiting flaw here, you can see it, there's a split that goes like down to about here. I don't think it gets to the staple. Yeah, it doesn't get to the staple, but it's about an inch and a half. If that was the only flaw, it could do a little better than this grade. But let's see what you can see what I mean by it hasn't been pressed. It's a little tough on the yellow, but you can see these little, yeah, I mean, kind of like see the indentations. There you go, the indentations on the cover. Like this one, definitely, it's really easy to see there in the green. Definitely has not been pressed. Would it be worth the cost to have that done? I don't know. I think it could get a bump. I don't know if it would maybe get a 3.5 or a 4. I think it could definitely get a bump, but I don't know if it's worth the additional cost to make the effort. But yeah, definitely one that could be considered for a resubmission. All right. Now, let's talk about the first of the Keeper books that I've got on here. And just move some stuff around. So, first one here. I mentioned Famous Funnies. This is the final issue from that run that I wanted to collect. Frank Frazetta, like I said, did issues 209 through 216. I love almost all the covers in that run. There are a couple that I'm not a huge fan of. I don't really care for 216, and I don't really care for 211. I know some people love 211. It's not one of my favorites. This is issue 213. This is the most expensive cover from the run. It has taken me 2 years to get this book. My favorite is issue 214. 214 is my favorite cover. I'd say that's like the second most expensive of the 209 through 216. This is definitely the most expensive. It is definitely the one that is the most in demand, and it's one of those things that I felt like, I'm actually gonna take it out of the bag so it's a little easier to don't have all the reflection. But this has definitely been the one that I wasn't sure if I was ever gonna be able to get a copy. This one came up on Heritage. I felt like it went for a pretty great price. I wasn't gonna bid any more after the bid I put in. If somebody had bid back one time, I would have stopped. But I felt like I got it at the maximum of the price I was comfortable paying. You know, it is a pricey book, and I feel like the fact that I talk about these books a lot has hurt my ability to get this issue, because it's brought a little more attention, I think, to these covers, and I think it just makes, you know, they only come up so often, and so if there's even one more person bidding or two more people bidding, it can make it difficult to get these. It has a cool date stamp on the back there, June 15th, 1954. But this one, from what I understand, this character here, on this cover was used as kind of like inspiration for Chewbacca in Star Wars. So that's another cool little thing with this one. But yeah, issue 213, the final one from that run that I was looking for. And so I kind of brought out my other Famous Funnies issues. So I have 5 other books from that run. This is issue 209. This is the first cover from the run that was done by Frank Frazetta. It's got, you know, the good girl art, Buck Rogers saving the woman, you know, fighting off these kind of like goblin type characters that are on the cover there. So that's 209. Then this one is 210. This is one of my favorite covers. 8-0, a very nice condition copy on this one. The thing I love about this cover is it's like her hair. The way that it's drawn, it's like you can almost like feel the motion of the cover. I love these underwater covers. I think this one is great. But yeah, so this is Famous Funnies number 210. 211 I do not have. It's one of the ones, like I said, that I'm just not a huge fan of. Then we've got issue 212. And this one and 209 I actually had listed on eBay. And when I got 213 in, I pulled the listings. I decided they're going back on the keeper list. So 209 and 212 went back on the keeper list when I got 213 in. I'd kind of given up on getting 213, and so because 209 and 212, even though I like those covers, they were kind of like the lower on the list of the Frazetta covers that I liked, and so I decided to cut them. But then once I got 213 in, I decided to add them back. So this is 212, cool, kind of like space cover again. Buck Rogers saving the woman in the red dress that is always getting in trouble. Then we've got 214, which is my favorite cover from the run. That is this one here, this amazing Red Planet cover. I love this cover. This is basically, I believe this is supposed to be the same guy that's on their ship from 213, but then this is him, you know, on top of their ship, maybe as they were trying to escape, something like that. But I love this red cover. One thing that's always really interesting with this book is that you'll notice this printer crease that's right here is on like every copy. I don't think I have ever seen a copy, even the extremely high grade copies, that don't have that printer crease. It's just something that's interesting. I've noticed that every single copy I've seen has that. But yeah, Famous Funnies 214, 30. And then the last one that I have is Famous Funnies number 215, 50, White Pages copy. Another really cool underwater cover where Buck Rogers is fighting this octopus that is, again, attacking the woman in the red dress that he is saving. So yeah, so those are the Famous Funnies issues that I have all on my keeper list. So it's 209, 210, 212, 213, 14, and 16. So yeah, very, very excited to have gotten that final book that I've been looking for 2 years. 2 years it's taken me to get this copy. So yeah, definitely really happy about getting that one. So now I've got one more box here, and this one has one other keeper book in it, and then I'll talk, you know, a little bit about the 2 books that got cut from the list because of this. So this one I picked up on a Instagram claim sale. I think this was through Elite Comics 11. I think this was an Elite Comics 11 claim sale. So lots of bubble wrap on this one. All right. This is such a cool cover. All right. Yep. Awesome cover. This is a pre-code horror book. My dog was barking a ton. I had to go cut there for a second. So what I picked up, this keeper book that is now on the list, is Haunted Thrills #5. I believe this is the biggest book from the run. This is an amazing skull cover. It's basically a giant skull with a bunch of skeletons coming out of it. One of the cool things is that every skeleton really has kind of like a different face. It's not like they did just some generic face for all of them. This one I liked as well because it's a pretty nice presenting 3-0. Most of the damage is really relegated to the spine, kind of the edges a little bit, but no real big creases or anything going across the cover. I mean, a 3-0 is a grade where you can definitely end up having a lot of creases, you know, subscription creases, all that kind of thing. And I think this one presents really, really well. Here's the back cover. You've definitely got a little more damage on the back. You've got some creasing on the back, but that doesn't bother me. You know, I like having the front cover being clean like this. And yeah, this is just, it's a very nice presenting copy. So really happy to be able to pick up a copy of this one. I had just been talking about this book with some people in one of the chats I'm in. And then this one popped up on that claim sale. I made an offer on it and was able to pick it up. So super happy about that. So Haunted Thrills #5, incredible pre-code horror skull cover. All right, so now what is being cut from the list? These two were tough. It's now my keeper list has now been reduced down to 100% Golden Age. I did cut the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, the variant cover. I didn't think I would end up cutting that one, but I cut that one. But then I've got, and that was for another book that I ended up adding. But then I've got these two these are being cut because of this. And so this first one, like one of my favorite Neil Adams covers of all time. This is Green Lantern #76. A ridiculous grade. A 9.2 of this book is a crazy grade. This one I bought raw on eBay back in like 2020. I finally sent it in to get graded earlier this year. It came back a 9.2. It was one of my big, like, shocking unboxing items. Like, I wasn't expecting a 9.2. It's a stunning book, but it's just because I didn't think I'd be able to pull a 9.2 in this book. It's so tough to get that grade. For Green Lantern 76. So this is the book that is considered the book that started the Bronze Age. Classic Neil Adams cover. I love the green. This book in this high grade like this, it almost just glows. I mean, it's an incredible book. So that one, and I'm not going to be in a huge rush to list it. I've got other books I need to list, but I don't know. We'll see. I might just pull the Band-Aid off and list it. We'll see. The other one is one of my favorite Silver Age books. I went through a process of upgrading this book until I finally got to this one. This is Fantastic Four, #49 in an 8.5. Again, a very difficult grade in this book. This book is pretty tough to get up in the 8s and above. The prices tend to spike pretty quickly for that one. But this one I picked up in, I think, late 2020 as well, a little before the prices really spiked into insanity. But yeah, first full appearance of Galactus, second appearance of Silver Surfer, first cover appearance of both Galactus and Silver Surfer. So 8.5, you know, really beautiful book. This one, I remember when I got it at first, I almost thought about resubmitting it because it took me a while to find the flaw that knocks it down to an 8.5 because it's a stunning copy. But I don't know if you can come out on camera, especially with these reflections, but there's a really light, see here, there you go, a really, really light small crease right here. It doesn't even fully break cover or color on there, but it's just really light. I think that's what did it in, you know, that got it down to that 8.5. But oh man, such a beautiful copy of this book. But yeah, so now my keeper list has been fully reduced to Golden Age books. I feel like the direction I was going, it was almost inevitable, but that's where it's gone now, because part of it has been that with Silver and Bronze Age books, I feel like if I really want them, I can get them back. The Golden Age books, they're harder to let go of, because I know if I sell them, the likelihood of me getting them back is so much harder. I mean, like I said, with that Famous Funnies 213, it took me 2 years, 2 years to get that copy. Whereas if I wanted a Fantastic Four 49, I could go out and buy it. But yeah, so that's how my keepers list has changed. Those are the books I picked up. Thought this was a pretty fun unboxing video, some incredible books that I'm really happy to have gotten. And yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content like this. I've got more videos over here if you'd like to watch some of my other videos, and the subscription button right here. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, I'd really appreciate it. And I will see you in the next video.